Some of these trucks look like accidents. Others look illegal. A few look like engineers simply ignored reality and built whatever they wanted. Wrong proportions, strange engines, designs that make no sense even today. And yet, they were real. They rolled off factory lines. They worked. They hauled. They survived. Most people don't believe them until they see proof. These machines weren't concepts or prototypes. They were built, sold, and driven on real roads. Get ready for 7 vintage trucks that shouldn't exist, but do mechanical oddities so strange they feel like glitches in history. Number 1. Scammell Mechanical Horse and Scarab. At first glance, the Scammell mechanical horse looks like an engineering mistake. Half truck, half tricycle, and entirely wrong by modern standards. Yet this peculiar machine was one of the most important transitional vehicles in commercial transport history, bridging the gap between horse-drawn delivery carts and modern articulated trucks. Introduced in 1934 by British manufacturer Scammell, the mechanical horse was designed with one clear objective: replace horses without disrupting existing delivery infrastructure. At the time, cities like London were built around horse logistics. Warehouses, rail depots, breweries, and postal hubs relied on short-haul wagons that needed to turn sharply, reverse into cramped docks, and swap loads quickly. Large four-wheel trucks were expensive, slow to maneuver, and incompatible with existing workflows. The mechanical horse solved this with a single steerable front wheel, an ultra-short wheelbase, and an automatic trailer coupling system. Drivers could reverse onto a trailer, lock it in place without leaving the cab, and drive away in seconds, mirroring how a horse would be hitched to a wagon. This made it incredibly efficient for multi-drop urban delivery. The design also allowed a turning circle far tighter than conventional trucks, making it ideal for narrow streets and rail yards. Early mechanical horses were powered by small petrol engines and geared for low speeds around 20 mph, which was intentional. They were not meant for highways. They were urban workhorses. Payloads typically ranged from 2 to 6 tons depending on configuration. Despite the odd layout, the weight distribution was stable because the trailer carried most of the load, while the tractor unit remained light and maneuverable. In 1948, Scammell refined the concept into the Scarab, featuring a more modern, enclosed steel cab, improved ergonomics, and updated engines. The Scarab continued production until the late 1960s and became a familiar sight with British Rail, breweries, the post office, and major retailers. What makes the mechanical horse and Scarab feel like they shouldn't exist is that no modern safety or design philosophy would approve a single front-wheel truck today, yet in its era it was a perfect solution. Cheap, reliable, easy to drive, and incredibly efficient. Thousands were built. Many worked daily for decades, and some are still operational in preservation fleets. This wasn't a novelty vehicle. It was a logistics revolution disguised as a cartoonish machine. Number 2. Citroen Type H. HY. The Citroen Type H, launched in 1947, is one of the strangest yet most successful commercial vehicles ever built. Its ribbed corrugated body panels make it look unfinished, like a prototype that escaped the factory. But every visual oddity serves a functional purpose. Post-World War II France faced material shortages, damaged infrastructure, and a desperate need for cheap, versatile transport. Citroën responded with a radical idea: adapt front-wheel drive passenger car technology to a commercial van. By mounting the engine and drivetrain at the front and driving the front wheels, Citroën eliminated the need for a rear drive shaft. This allowed for an exceptionally low load floor, one of the lowest of any van in its era. The corrugated steel body, often mistaken for a styling choice, was borrowed from aircraft engineering, specifically pre-war Junkers designs. Corrugation added strength without increasing thickness, reducing material use while maintaining rigidity. This made the van lighter, cheaper to produce, and more resistant to structural fatigue. Under the skin, the Type H shared components with Citroën passenger cars, including engines derived from the Traction Avant range. Power outputs were modest, but reliability and ease of maintenance were priorities. The van was never fast, but it was durable and incredibly adaptable. And adaptable it was. Over its 34-year production run, nearly 500,000 units were built in dozens of configurations: delivery vans, ambulances, police vehicles, mobile shops, campers, and even mobile cinemas. The flat interior walls and boxy shape made it ideal for customization long before modular design became a buzzword. Why does the Type H feel like it shouldn't exist? Because it ignores nearly every conventional rule of vehicle aesthetics. The narrow track, tall body, ribbed sides, and forward-set cab look wrong. Yet the van worked so well that Citroen barely changed the design for decades. It survived fuel crises, economic shifts, and evolving transport demands. Today, the Type H has become a cult icon, especially as restored food trucks and event vehicles. But long before Instagram discovered it, this odd machine quietly carried Europe's recovery on its corrugated shoulders. Number 3. Kenworth K100. Aerodyne. In North America, trucks traditionally followed a simple visual rule: long hood equals serious truck. Cab-over engine (COE) designs were tolerated mainly because length regulations demanded them. The Kenworth K100 Aerodyne, introduced in the mid-1970s, broke that rule in spectacular fashion. The standard K100 was already a compact COE designed to maximize trailer length while staying within legal limits. But the Aerodyne version added something unheard of at the time: a factory-built raised-roof sleeper with stand-up headroom. This transformed the K100 from a purely functional tool into something closer to a rolling living space. Visually, the Aerodyne looks wrong. The tall, squared-off roof sits atop a short, flat-front cab, giving the truck proportions that appear top-heavy and awkward. Yet that extra height provided drivers with room to stand, change clothes, and live comfortably during long hauls, luxuries previously reserved for large conventional tractors. The engineering challenge was immense. COE trucks already struggled with engine heat, noise, and cramped interiors. Kenworth reinforced the cab structure, improved insulation, and redesigned interior layouts to make the Aerodyne practical. Power came from proven diesel engines of the era, including Detroit diesel and Cummins options, ensuring the truck remained reliable despite its unconventional form. Why does it feel like it shouldn't exist? Because it contradicts the logic of cab-over design. COEs were meant to be short and simple. The Aerodyne made them tall and complex. But for owner-operators who wanted comfort without sacrificing trailer length, it was a revelation. Though cab-overs eventually faded in the US after length laws changed, the K100 Aerodyne remains legendary. It represents a brief moment when American trucking experimented boldly, when comfort, legality, and engineering collided to create something truly unusual. Number 4. ZIL 135. The ZIL 135 does not look like a truck. It looks like a moving weapons platform pretending to be a vehicle. Developed in the late 1950s by the Soviet Union, it was designed to meet a single Cold War requirement: move heavy missile systems across terrain where roads might not exist. What makes the ZIL 135 truly absurd is its drivetrain. Instead of one large engine, many variants used two engines, each powering one side of the vehicle. The left engine drove the left wheels, the right engine drove the right wheels. Steering was achieved not only through conventional methods but also through controlled power differences between sides in certain situations. By modern standards, this sounds wildly inefficient, and it was, but the design addressed several Soviet realities: limited access to extremely high-power engines, the need for redundancy, and the requirement for massive torque at low speeds. If one engine failed, the vehicle could still limp home on the other. The ZIL 35 chassis became the basis for multiple rocket launcher systems, including early multiple launch platforms. Its wide stance, enormous tires, and flexible suspension allowed it to traverse mud, snow, and sand while carrying loads that would cripple conventional trucks. Why does it feel like it shouldn't exist? Because no civilian manufacturer would ever build a dual-engine, side-split drivetrain vehicle. It's complex, heavy, and inefficient. But in a military context where mobility equals survival, the ZIL 135 made perfect sense. It stands today as a reminder that when engineering is driven by strategy rather than efficiency, the results can be spectacularly strange. Number 5. Tatra T813. Kolos. The Tatra T813, introduced in 1967, is one of those trucks that feels almost mythical when you see it in action. It doesn't just drive over rough terrain, it absorbs it, flexing and twisting in ways that look mechanically impossible. To understand why the T813 seems like it shouldn't exist, you first have to understand Tatra's radically different engineering philosophy. Unlike most trucks, which use a ladder frame, Tatra developed a central backbone tube chassis. Inside this massive steel tube runs the drivetrain, fully protected from impacts, dirt, and water. From this backbone extend independently suspended swinging half-axles, allowing each wheel to move almost independently of the others. The result is extraordinary ground contact and traction, even when the vehicle is crawling over rocks, trenches, or collapsed infrastructure. The T813 was built primarily for military and heavy industrial use during the Cold War. It came in multiple configurations, 6x6, 8x8, and even more specialized variants, capable of hauling artillery, towing disabled vehicles, or carrying massive loads across terrain with no roads. Power typically came from a large air-cooled V8 diesel engine, another unusual choice that eliminated the vulnerability of liquid cooling systems in extreme climates. Visually, the T813 is awkward and overbuilt. The cab sits high and forward, the proportions feel squat and dense, and the wheels look almost too small for the truck's body. But every design decision was intentional. The backbone chassis allowed extreme torsional flexibility without cracking the frame, while the air-cooled engine ensured operation in deserts, frozen regions, and chemical threat environments. Why does the T813 feel like it shouldn't exist? Because it ignores the standard rules of truck design that dominate Western engineering. Swing axles were abandoned by many manufacturers due to handling quirks on paved roads, but Tatra optimized them for off-road dominance, not highway comfort. The result was a truck that could keep moving when others snapped frames, overheated, or lost traction. The T813 earned a reputation for near indestructibility. Even today, many remain operational decades after production ended in 1982. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't fast, but it was relentless, a machine built to survive conditions that would destroy ordinary trucks. Number 6. MAZ 537. MAZ 543. If scale alone could make a truck feel unreal, the MAZ 537 and MAZ 543 families would top the list. Developed by the Minsk automobile plant beginning in the late 1950s, these trucks were not designed for commerce, comfort, or efficiency. They were built for one mission: moving the heaviest military hardware the Soviet Union possessed. The MAZ 537 was primarily a heavy tank transporter and artillery tractor, capable of towing loads exceeding 60 tons. The MAZ 543, introduced in the 1960s, expanded the concept into a multi-role heavy chassis, most famously serving as the base for missile transporter erector launchers, TLLs. These vehicles carried ballistic missiles that were longer than many city buses. Visually, these trucks are overwhelming. Massive 8x8 drivetrains, enormous low-pressure tires, and twin cabs on the MAZ 543 give them proportions that make normal trucks look like toys. The split-cab design wasn't stylistic. It allowed long missiles or equipment to be carried between the cab sections without exceeding axle limits. Power came from large V12 diesel engines, delivering immense torque at low RPM. Top speed was never the priority. What mattered was the ability to move reliably across mud, snow, sand, and broken terrain while carrying strategic weapons. Fuel consumption was enormous, but irrelevant in a military context where logistics planning accounted for it. Why do these trucks feel like they shouldn't exist? Because civilian infrastructure simply isn't built for them. They are too wide, too heavy, and too specialized. Yet within their intended role, they were indispensable. Mobile missile platforms reduced reliance on fixed launch sites, increasing survivability during the Cold War. Even today, derivatives of the MAZ 543 concept remain in service or influence modern military transport design. These trucks are reminders that when engineering priorities shift from efficiency to strategic necessity, the results can be machines that look almost alien, but are brutally effective. Number 7. Mercedes-benz Unimog 404. The unimog is often described as a truck, but that label barely captures what it really is. The Unimog 404, produced mainly from the 1950s through the 1980s, is one of the most recognizable and widely used versions, and also one of the strangest vehicles ever to see military and civilian service. At first glance, the Unimog 404 looks underwhelming. Small cab, narrow body, modest engine. Then you notice the ground clearance, the extreme wheel articulation, and the way it climbs terrain that stops vehicles many times its size. The secret lies in its engineering. The unimog uses portal axles, where the axle center line sits above the wheel hubs. This raises ground clearance without increasing tire size, allowing the vehicle to clear rocks, stumps, and deep ruts. Combined with a flexible ladder frame, locking differentials, and multiple gear ranges, the unimog can crawl, climb, and wade with ease. The 404 series was widely adopted by NATO and other military forces, particularly the German Bundeswehr. It served as a troop carrier, radio truck, ambulance, and utility vehicle. Civilian versions were equally versatile, used in agriculture, forestry, snow clearing, rail maintenance, and expedition travel. Why does it feel like it shouldn't exist? Because it refuses to specialize. It's not fast enough to be a highway truck, not large enough to be a heavy hauler, and not simple enough to be a basic farm vehicle. Yet it does all of these jobs well enough, and sometimes better than purpose-built machines. The Unimog 404 looks like a toy until you see it working. Then it becomes clear, this is not a compromise vehicle. It is a precision tool, engineered to operate where categories don't matter and terrain decides everything. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.